Section 21 of A Memorial Containing Travels Through Life, or Sundry Incidents in the Life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by ShrimpPhish. A Memorial Containing Travels Through Life, or Sundry Incidents in the Life of Dr. Benjamin Rush, by Dr. Benjamin Rush. Notes. Conclusion. July 26. This morning died Mrs. Hall of the Society of Friends. She had been my patient above 30 years. She was sensible, and had taste and elegance in conversation. In one of my visits to her, she said, as I entered her room, "Here comes my physician, my friend, my opium." Alluding by the last epithet, she applied to me to the relief my medicines gave her. The night before she died, she expressed a strong hope and faith in her Redeemer, and said that she believed her robes were washed and made white in his blood. July 28. This evening was visited by a Christian Turk, a native of Jerusalem. He was dressed in the Turkish habit. He said Jerusalem contained 17,000 inhabitants, that some of the stones of Solomon's temple were still to be seen near where it stood, that 15,000 persons came annually to worship at Jerusalem. He described the Garden of Gethsemane and Mount Calvary, on the summit of which and over the sepulchre of our Savior were built large churches. While travelers have in vain sought for the spot in Asia where man fell, it is pleasing to reflect that the place where he was redeemed is known, and that both nature and art by their monuments, which time has not been able to deface or destroy, bear witness to the truth of the history of his crucifixion. August 7. This day visited the Reverend Dr. Tennant at Abingdon, whom I found full of peace and hope on what he supposed to be his deathbed. On my way home I dined with Dr. Rogers at Dr. Moore's very pleasantly. I called to see an old woman of 81 years of age, at the request of Dr. Moore, near his house, of the name of Martha Martin, who knew my father. She told me she was born on the next plantation to his at Biber, and that her father used to say of him he would as soon take John Rush's word as any other man's bond. August 10. Called upon the Reverend Mr. Sargent, a Methodist minister, and suggested to him the possibility of establishing a Methodist congregation and church in the Neck, a few miles below the city, where the population was thick, and where there was no church of any kind. He was much pleased with the proposal, and said he would immediately lay it before his brethren, who were to meet that night upon other business. During this month died William Falconer, aged 99, a venerable and excellent saint, and an elder of Dr. Green's church. He died of weakness and old age. I visited him during his confinement, previously to his death. His conversation was sensible, pleasant, and full of anecdotes of good and great men, particularly of the Reverend Mr. Whitefield, whom he knew 70 years ago. He considered the smallest benefits mercies. October 2. Charles Thompson dined with me. He was in his 81st year. He was animated, cheerful, and full of anecdote. He said he lived between 4 and 5 years as a scholar in the house of the Reverend Dr. Allison when a young man, that he never saw him smile, nor in a good humor during that time, that Dr. Allison once asked him what were the decrees of God, that he answered he did not know. "What?" said the doctor, "you do not know your catechism?" "No," said Mr. Thompson, "I do not." When Mr. Thompson is asked what sect he is of, he answered, "Of none. I am a Christian. I believe only in the Scriptures and in Jesus Christ, my Savior." He was once a Presbyterian and worshipped in Market Street, but left that society in consequence of discovering a malignant and unforgiving temper in Dr. Ewing. He said he had supped with old Edward Shippen in the room in which we dined in 1750, 60 years before. October 7. Died this day Mrs. Mary Watson, a most accomplished schoolmistress. She was dignified and correct in her manner, feared, respected, and beloved by her scholars, and eminently qualified for her station. The whole city lamented her premature death. 1811. August 26. At 1 o'clock this morning died of a broken heart my excellent friend, Thomas Fitzsimmons, Esquire, in the 70th year of his age. Few such men have lived or died. From an obscure mechanic, he became not only one of the most enlightened and intelligent merchants in the United States, but a correct English scholar and a man of extensive reading upon all subjects. He filled many important stations, both in the general and state governments, with great reputation during the Revolutionary War. His opinions upon all questions connected with the commerce of our country were always regarded with respect and even homage by his fellow citizens. In private life he was truly amiable. Hundreds owe their establishment in various occupations and business to his advice and good offices. His friendship was steady, sincere, and disinterested. He had firmness upon all occasions except one, and that was when his friends solicited favors from him. From his inability to resist the importunities and even the sight of distress, he suffered a reverse of fortune in the evening of his life. Even in this situation his mind retained its native energy, and his heart its native goodness, and hence it may be truly said that, notwithstanding all his many and immense losses, he died rich in the esteem, affection, and gratitude of all classes of his fellow citizens. August 27. This morning died my much-valued friend, Joseph Clay, Esquire, cashier of the Farmers and Mechanics Bank, in the 42nd year of his age. This gentleman, by early and patient study, laid up a large stock of knowledge in all the various branches of science, particularly in languages, mathematics, natural philosophy, chemistry, and politics, from which he became not only a useful member of society, but a pleasing and instructive companion to a numerous and affectionate circle of friends. In public, no less than in private life, there was a benignity in his temper and manners that always delighted and charmed. His profound but luminous mind shed light upon every subject upon which he spoke. Beloved by all who knew him, he was particularly dear in his domestic connections. Here language fails us. Sighs and tears speak the rest. O death, all eloquent you only prove, what dost we dote on when 'tis man we love? In the list of the illustrious men prominent for talents, knowledge, and public and private virtue in Pennsylvania, the historian would be unjust who does not give Mr. Clay a distinguished rank among them. September 2. This day I received a handsome ring from the Emperor of Russia by the hands of William Lynch of Philadelphia, to whom it was given in charge by J.Q. Adams, minister from the United States to the Court of Petersburg. It was presented to me as a mark of the satisfaction of the Emperor with my medical works presented to him by Mr. J.Q. Adams. September 13. 3 packets have arrived from England, 2 from London and Philadelphia, 1 in New York from the same place, and several from Liverpool, both in New York, without bringing me a letter or even a message from my son, Dr. James Rush, and my daughter, Mary Manners, who are both in London at the time those vessels sailed. The distress I have felt in being thus disappointed, neglected, and ungratefully treated by 2 children upon whom I had lavished acts of paternal kindness has been to me very great. It has prevented my sleeping and impaired my health. Lord, lay not this conduct to their charge. October 11. This day I received a letter from my son, Dr. James Rush, dated New York, October 8th, informing me of his arrival there with his sister and her 2 children, after a very tempestuous and dangerous voyage from Bristol of 8 weeks. Had they perished at sea, their family would have been ignorant of their fate for many months, for they had neglected to inform them of the ship in which they had sailed, as well as the time of their sailing. Blessed be God for their preservation. November. Branch Green informed me that in a school lately opened in the Northern Liberties by the Reverend Mr. May, consisting of 120 children of different ages, up to 10 years, not more than 20 knew who made them. November 23. This day it was announced in the National Intelligencer that my son Richard Rush was appointed Comptroller of the United States, and to my great astonishment and distress, on November 25th, he set off for Washington to accept of it. I dissuaded him from doing so from the following considerations. First, the degradation to which such an office exposed a man of literary and professional talents. It was an office that could be filled by any clerk of a bank. Second, the vexations and poverty of political life. Third, his comfortable establishment and excellent prospects in Pennsylvania, the state of his ancestors and family. Fourth, the sickliness of Washington and the insufficiency of the salary to support a growing family. Fifth, the dishonor which he would do to his understanding by such an act. Sixth, my age, also my young family, which required his advice now, and would still more require it after my death. I offered to implore him not to accept of the appointment upon my knees, but all to no purpose. O my son Richard, may you never be made to feel in the unkindness of a son the misery you have inflicted upon me by this rash conduct. He was dissuaded from it by all his friends, and was blamed for it by most of the citizens of Philadelphia who knew him. December 6. General Henry Lee called upon me and requested me to introduce him to 2 Spanish gentlemen from the Caraccas. He informed me that, in visiting the western parts of Virginia, Rock Ridge County, last summer, he was entertained by a farmer of the name of Campbell, who had lived 30 years with 20 in the family without a single death or birth in it. There were 3 married pairs on his farm, negroes besides himself and his wife, who had lived together 30 years without issue. December 11. This day died of arthritic fever, aged 59, Peter Brown. He had been my patient about 30 years, and my sincere friend and advocate under all my medical persecutions. Few men lived or died more beloved in all the relations of life. He was patriotic, benevolent, generous, and charitable, and in the latter part of his life piously disposed. I loved him much, and most affectionately deplored his death. December 30. This day my son and his family set off for Washington to enter upon the labor of the humble office he had preferred to the respectable and professional office he held in Pennsylvania. This day also the awful news of the burning of the theater in Richmond, Virginia, reached this city, in which above 60 persons, among whom was the governor of Virginia and many other persons of note, perished. It took place on the 26th of this month, 1812. February. This month I received a letter from the President of the Imperial Academy of Medicine in Petersburg, informing me that I was elected a member of the said society. February 29. This day I finished my lectures. During the whole course it pleased God to give me such a degree of health that I did not disappoint my pupils a single day. For the last 2 weeks I lectured twice a day, 5 days of each week. I have reason to believe my pupils were satisfied with my lectures. For this favor I desire to be thankful to that Being who alone giveth favor in the eyes of men. During the summer of 1812 I employed myself in transcribing my lectures, and in preparing a volume of inquiries, etc., on the diseases of the mind for the press. October 27. This evening corrected the last proof sheet of my inquiries. I was frequently visited during the month of October by Baron Bonsock, a Prussian nobleman, a modest, well-informed gentleman. I gave him, at his request, 2 of my pamphlets and a letter in favor of the domestic origin of the yellow fever. He was a believer in revelation, and told a pleasant story of Robespierre, who, on one occasion, said the world was made by chance, and that there was no hell. "But suppose," said someone, "there should be a hell made by chance, what then?" Robespierre became confused and silent at this question. November 28. This evening died in his chair reading the newspaper John Dunlap, aged between 60 and 70 years. From small beginnings as a printer, he acquired by his business, but chiefly by speculation, an estate of perhaps $300,000 or $400,000. So humble was his beginning in life that he slept upon a blanket under his counter and ate pepper pot only bought in the market from his inability to purchase a bed or any other food. He was a staunch revolutionary Whig and active as a dragoon in the most perilous stages of the war. In the parties which divided his country, he was always moderate, candid, and just to both sides. To public institutions he was liberal, to the poor, charitable, and to his friends, kind and affectionate. In his family he was less amiable and respectable than in society. Towards the close of his life he became intemperate so as to fall in the streets. He was early and uniformly my friend. December 2. This day died Dr. Magon, in about the 73rd year of his age. He lived many years after the loss of his memory from the palsy in good health, and even became fat. He was esteemed an excellent scholar, a profound divine, and a good man. December 15th. This day I received $20 from Mrs. Bravo from Jamaica for attendance upon her husband, who died in this city. I did not expect a payment of this bill, having seldom, and perhaps never, received payment of a bill under equal circumstances. Mrs. Bravo was a Jewess. 1813. January 23rd. Died at his son's, Henry Clymer's, near Trenton, George Clymer, Esquire, aged 74. Long my patient and friend, and from whose company I derived more pleasure, and from whose conversation I derived more instruction than from any citizen of Philadelphia. The following short sketch of his character was published by me a few days after his death. Another of the revolutionary patriots of Pennsylvania is gone. He has followed to the grave Franklin, Morris, Fitzsimmons, Reed, Mifflin, Biddle, Wilson, Nixon, Cadwallader, Rittenhouse, and others of his distinguished colleagues in the dangers and labors of the years 1774, 5, and 6. It will scarcely be necessary to add that the patriot alluded to is the late George Clymer. This illustrious citizen was admirably qualified for all the stations he filled during the war which gave independence to the United States, and since its termination by a mind exquisitely sensible of the blessings of liberty and enlightened in the principle of equal and just government by extensive reading and habits of deep reflection. All those subjects which were connected with national happiness and honor, whether they embraced the agriculture, the manufactures, the commerce, the fine arts, or the morals of his country, were alike familiar to him, and his life was devoted to their cultivation and improvement. In social life he possessed a peculiar talent for instructing and pleasing in conversation by the originality of his ideas upon all subjects, and by the novelty of the dress he gave to such as were common. With this talent he united at all times the charm of an unassuming and artless manner. There was no chasm in the circle of his virtues. In domestic life he was as much beloved as a husband and a father, as he was respected by his country as her benefactor and friend. In short, the colors of expression are too faint. Let thought describe what thought alone can paint. Think what the patriot, sage, and man should be. You've then his character, for such was he. End of section 31.
Section 32 of a memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Reader, Massachusetts. A memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush by Dr. Benjamin Rush. Instructions to my son James Rush upon his going abroad, June 1809. 1. Commit yourself and all that you are interested in daily to the protection of your Maker, Preserver, and bountiful benefactor. Keep a journal from the day you leave Philadelphia, in which insert all the physical facts you hear in conversation, the companies you go into, and interesting matters you hear in them, with the names of each of them when small and select. The days on which you begin a new book or enter upon any new study or business. The subjects of sermons, speeches, etc. Avoid lodging in houses where there are handsome young ladies. Avoid particular attentions, etc., where you visit. 2. Attend public worship. Avoid driving out in large companies on Sundays. Attend the courts, General Assembly, and debating societies. 3. Converse on medicine with physicians as much as possible. Find out what new medicines or new forms of old medicines they are in the habit of giving. 4. Keep in a separate book an account of your expenditures, contracts, etc. Preserve all your receipts. Also, finally, recollect the saying of Sir John Maynard to his son when he set out on his travels, "Remember, while you are in the world sees you." Also, the saying of Israel Pemberton to your father in 1766, "Keep older and wiser company than thyself." Also, of George Dillwyn to B. Chew, Jr., "Remember, thou hast a character to lose." End of section 32. Read by Reader, Massachusetts, June 2024.
Section 33 of A Memorial Containing Travels Through Life or Sundry Incidents in the Life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by ShrimpPhish. A Memorial Containing the Travels Through Life or Sundry Incidents in the Life of Dr. Benjamin Rush by Dr. Benjamin Rush. Thoughts. 1. Dr. Witherspoon says all men are found out before they die. I deny it. Some men are not found out till after death, and many will not be fully known till the day of judgment. Headings of a eulogism on death. 2. 1. It relieves unhappy and discontented husbands and wives. 2. It relieves children of parents who keep them too long out of their estates. 3. It relieves physicians of incurable patients. 4. It relieves nations of tyrannical kings and blundering ministers who are so riveted either in force or in delusion upon the minds of the people that there is no other way of getting rid of them. 5. It relieves the world of old men who keep the minds of men in chains to old prejudices. These men do not die half fast enough. Few clergymen, physicians, or lawyers beyond 60 do any good in the world. On the contrary, they check innovation and improvement. 3. Guilt, debt, and bad health are the greatest evils in the world, and perhaps the only proper sources of misery. They are evil in the order in which they are mentioned. 4. Quakers impose the same restraint upon taste which the Roman Catholics impose on sexual appetite. The prohibition of music, etc., is like the prohibition of celibacy in nunneries and monasteries. 5. How apt we are to mistake means for ends. Gold and silver, the means of enjoyment, become objects of it. Dress, the means of warmth, becomes the object of pride. Eating is the means of life, not the end. 6. Burke's character of a merchant. Gold is his god. The exchange is his church. His counting-house is his altar. An invoice his Bible, and his only trust is in his banker. 7. Many people make good breeding consist as much in forms as they do religion. Manners are mistaken for the former as much as ceremonies for the latter. 8. Men who differ, though right in all their opinions, from the age or people in and among which they live, suffer from their singularity, just as men do in a city whose watches go correctly with the sun while all the other watches in the city go with an old and erroneous town clock. 9. We never acquire knowledge to direct our conduct from history, nor biography, nor from the experience of other people, nor even from our own experience, unless repeated 2 or 3 times. 10. If time is tedious in proportion to suffering, then the pains of hell may well be said to be eternal, though only temporary. The Marquis of Mirabeau, who died of an acute and painful disease in his bowels, said in his last hours that he endured in a moment the pangs of 1,000 years. 11. Hostility is most intense where there is most obligation. 12. The pen, the pencil, the chisel, and the brush, from habit, partake of the genius that directs them, and now and then, as it were, involuntarily strike off beauties which were not intended by the hand that guided them, and which cannot be imitated afterwards, even by their authors. 13. Change or novelty is so natural to man that he rejects even truth after a while, and embraces error only because it is new. End of section 33.
Section 34 of a memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Tom Shoesmith. A memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush, by Dr. Benjamin Rush. Descendants, Section 1. 1. John Rush. John Rush commanded a troop of horse in Cromwell's army and was personally known to him. After the war he married Susanna Lucas at Horton in Oxfordshire, June 8, 1648. He embraced the principles of the Quakers in 1660 and came to Pennsylvania in 1683 and settled in Bibury, 13 miles from Philadelphia. In 1691 he and his whole family left the Quakers and became Keithians. In 1697 they became Baptists. He died at Bibury in 1699, aged about 80. His horseman's sword is in possession of Jacob Rush, and his watch in that of General Darke of Virginia. He had issue as appears by a record in his own handwriting taken from his family Bible, now in the possession of Benjamin Rush, A.D. 1869. 1. Elizabeth, born June 16, 1649. 2. William, born July 21, 1652. 3. Thomas, born November 7, 1654, and died in London on the 18th of 4th month, 1676. 5. Francis, born 8th of 2nd month, 1662, died childless, under 30 years of age. 6. James, born 21st of 7th month, 1664, died 21st of 1st month, and was buried at Banbury. 7. Joseph, born 26th of 10th month, 1666, died in childhood. 8. Edward, born 27th of 9th month, 1670, died childless, under 30 years of age. 9. Jane, born 27th of 12th month, 1673 to 4. Elizabeth Rush, eldest child of John and Susanna Rush, married Richard Collett, May 27th, 1680, in London, and came with her husband to Pennsylvania in the same ship with William Penn in 1682. They settled on 500 acres of land in Bibury, 200 of which are now owned by Captain Blank, and 200 by 2 of their grandchildren, namely Elizabeth Messer and Mary Pert. Their issue were 1. John, 2. Mary, 3. Rachel. Rachel Collett married Benjamin Pert and had issue 1. Thomas, 2. William, 3. Elizabeth, 4. Mary, 5. Brian. Thomas Pert, eldest son of Benjamin and Rachel Pert, had issue 1. William, 2. Edmund, 3. John, 4. Thomas, 5. Brian, 6. Rachel, 7. Elizabeth, 8. Rachel. William Pert, second son of Benjamin and Rachel Pert, had issue 7 children. Elizabeth Pert, eldest daughter of Benjamin and Rachel Pert, married Willard and had issue 1. Mary, 2. Elizabeth, 3. Rachel, 4. Mary, 5. Jonathan, and by her second husband Messer she had issue 1. Thomas, who had issue 12 children, and 2. Anne. Brian Pert, fifth child of Benjamin and Rachel Pert, had issue 1. Benjamin, 2. Rebecca, 3. Thomas. 2. William Rush. William Rush, the eldest son, second child of John and Susanna Rush, born 1652, married in England, Aurelia, and they had issue Susanna, born 1675, Elizabeth, born 1677, James, born 1679. Aurelia Rush, wife of William Rush, was buried at Hearts on the Crete, Poughkeepsie, in 1683, and her husband William in 1688. In 1786, this ancient cemetery of 1 acre was bequeathed by one of Hart's heirs to the township of Biography for a burying place for the inhabitants forever. In this place James Rush, son of William Rush, is buried. The family of Waltons first settled in Biography and gave it the name from the place they had resided in England. Giles Knight and Hosea Ellis said to be the first persons who went there. William Rush married a second wife in Pennsylvania and had issue by her, Sarah, born 1685, William, born 1687. He died at Biography in 1688, 5 years after his arrival in this country, and was the only son of John Rush, who lived to be above 30 years of age. Susanna Rush, eldest child of William Rush, married John Webster and had issue 1. Phoebe, who married William Lockhart, 2. a son. Susanna afterwards married Gilbert, by whom she had no issue. She had a masculine body and mind. Her last husband being lazy, she worked her farm of 100 acres with her own hands. She used to plow, harrow, and reap. The first, she said, was a delightful exercise. Elizabeth Rush, second daughter of William Rush, married Timothy Stevenson, an Englishman of worthy character, by whom she had no issue. Tim Stevenson afterwards married Rachel Rush, the widow of his brother-in-law James Rush, by the consent of the Synod of New York. They had no issue. Her husband died before her and left her his estate in Front Street, Philadelphia, afterwards owned by her eldest son, John Rush. James Rush, eldest son, third child of William Rush, born 1679, married Rachel Pert, daughter of Brian Pert, an Englishman, and brother to Benjamin Pert. He was an ingenious, active, and worthy man, and so exact in business that when he died, which was in the year 1727, March 16th, aged 48 years and 10 months, he did not leave a single debt behind him. He owned the farm on which he lived and died, and left £300 to each of his children. He was buried in the family graveyard near his house. On his headstone are the following lines: "I've tried the strength of death at length, and here lie underground. But I shall rise above the skies when the last trump shall sound." His issue were 1. John, born 1712, 2. Elizabeth, born 1714, 3. William, born 1716, married Mary Williams and had issue 1. William, 2. John, 4. Rachel, born 1718, died in childhood, 5. Joseph, born 1720, died single, 6. James, born March 25, 1723, died single. 7. Thomas, born 1724, died single. 8. Anne, married John Ashmead. 9. Aurelia, died in childhood. John Rush, eldest son of James Rush, married Susan Harvey, formerly Hall, daughter of Joseph Hall of Tacony, by whom he had issue. He was a man of a meek and peaceable spirit, and so just in his dealings and intercourse with the world that one of his neighbors once said of him that more could not be said in favor of a man's integrity than that he was as honest as John Rush. He died July 26, 1751, in Philadelphia, and was buried in Christ Church graveyard. His widow was buried by his side at her request, July 3, 1795. "Let me be buried by his side," said she on her deathbed. "He was an angel to me while he lived." They had issue. 1. James, died at sea of the yellow fever in the 21st year of his age. 2. Rachel. 3. Rebecca. 4. Benjamin. 5. Jacob, born November 24th, A.D., 1745. 6. Stevenson, died in childhood. 7. John. Rachel Rush, eldest daughter, second child of John and Susanna Rush, née Hall, married Angus Boyce, and had issue 1. Malcolm, who died single in his 30th year. She afterwards married Joseph Montgomery, and died October 1798, and had issue 1. John Montgomery. Rebecca Rush, second daughter and third child of John and Susanna, née Hall Rush, married Thomas Stamper, and had issue 1. Joseph, died in his 8th year. 2. Susanna, died in infancy. She afterwards married Wallace, and died in 1793. Benjamin Rush, second son and fourth child of John and Susanna Rush, née Hall, married Julia Stockton, January 11th, 1776, and had issue 1. John, born July 17th, 1777, died August 9, 1837. 2. Emily, born January 1st, 1779. 3. Richard, born August 29th, 1780. 4. Susanna, born January 7th, 1782, died in infancy. 5. Elizabeth, born February 14th, 1783, died in infancy. 6. Mary, born May 16th, 1784. 7. James, born March 15th, 1786. 8. William, born November 8th, 1787, died in infancy. 9. Benjamin, born July 3rd, 1789, died in infancy. 10. Benjamin, born January 18th, 1791. 11. Julia, born November 22nd, 1792. 12. Samuel, born August 1st, 1795. 13. William, born May 11th, 1801. Jacob Rush, third son and fifth child of John and Susanna, née Hall Rush, married Mary Wrench in the year 1777, November 17th, and had issue 1. Rebecca, born January 1, 1779, 2. Sarah, born January 24, 1781, 3. Mary, born January 24, 1783, 4. Louisa, born 5. Harriet. Anne Rush, third daughter and eighth child of James and Rachel Rush, married John Ashmead, and had issue 1. William, 2. John, 3. Rachel, 4. Benjamin, died in childhood. She afterwards married Potts and had issue 1. James, who married and had issue 7 or 8 children. William Ashmead, eldest son of John and Anne Ashmead, married and had issue 1. John, 2. Thomas, 3. William, 4. James, 5. Mary, 6. Anne. John Ashmead, second son of John and Anne Ashmead, married Mary Mifflin and had issue 1. John, who had several children, 2. Benjamin, 3. Hannah, died in childhood, 4. Anne, 5. William, who had several children, 6. Joseph, who died single, 7. Mary, 8. Thomas, who died in childhood, 9. Eliza. Rachel Ashmead, eldest daughter and third child of John and Anne Ashmead, married J. Hood and had issue 1. Mary, who married Samuel Boys and had issue 5 children, 2. James. Elizabeth Rush, eldest daughter and second child of James and Rachel Rush, married Edward Carey and had issue 1. Elizabeth, 2. Jesse, 3. Ezra, who died single, 4. Anne, who married John Gouge and had issue 1. Edward, 2. John, 3. Jesse, 4. Ezra. 5. Rachel. 6. Sarah, who died single. Sarah Rush, third daughter and fourth child of William Rush, married David Meredith. She lived to be above 80 years and left 108 descendants. She had issue 1. Susanna, who married a man of the name of Kays and had issue 7 or 8 children. 2. David, married Garrett, issue 10 children. 3. Rebecca, married Mr. J. Jenkins, issue 10 children. 4. William, married blank Lloyd, issue 10 children. 5. Rachel, married blank Connolly, issue 4 children. 6. Joseph. 7. John, married blank Cloyd, issue 6 children. 8. Mary, married Bean, issue 8 children. 9. Hannah, married Guest, issue 6 children. Also several other children that died in infancy. William Rush, second and youngest son of William Rush, married Elizabeth Hodges, March 1st, A.D., 1711-12, at the house of his half-brother James Rush, by a Quaker meeting, and had issue 1. Mary, who married George Irvine and had issue 1. Elizabeth, 2. James, now General Irvine, 3. Susanna, who died single, 4. Mary, who died single, 2. William, 3. Joseph, 4. Elizabeth, who died in infancy, 5. Elizabeth, who died single, 6. Francis, who died in infancy. William Rush, second and eldest son of William Rush II and Elizabeth Rush, married Esther Carlyle and had issue 1. John, who died in infancy, 2. Joseph, who died in infancy, 3. William, who died single, 4. John, who died in infancy, 5. Elizabeth, who married R. Bethel and had issue 1. William, 2. Robert, 3. Francis, 6. Hannah, who died in infancy. He afterwards married Frances D. Blank and had issue 1. Abraham, who died in infancy, 2. Francis, who died in infancy, 3. Joseph, who married Sally Massey in South Carolina, 4. Sarah, who married Joseph Kerr and had issue 5 children. Joseph Rush, the third and youngest son of William Rush II, married Rebecca Linkhorn and had issue 1. Elizabeth, 2. William, who had 8 children, 3. Mary, who died in childhood, 4. Abraham, who died in childhood, 5. Catherine, 6. Joseph, who died single, 7. Susanna, 8. George, who died in childhood. He afterwards married Elizabeth Hilton, by whom he had issue 1. Esther, who died in childhood, 2. Rebecca, who died in childhood, 3. Benjamin, 4. Esther, 5. Sarah, who died in childhood, 6. James Irvine. He was a sensible and ingenious man, and excelled in his business as a ship carpenter. He died in 1798, near 80 years of age. He bore an excellent character. End of section 34. Section 35 of a memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Tom Shoesmith. A memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush, by Dr. Benjamin Rush. Descendants, Section 2. John Rush, third son of John and Susan Rush, died under 30 years of age. He had issue 1 John, 2 Thomas. John Rush, eldest son of the above John Rush, married Sarah blank, and had issue 1 Mary, 2 John, 3 William, 4 Joseph, 5 Sarah, 6 Benjamin. His eldest daughter married a man of the name of Norwood, whose descendants are now in Dublin. Joseph Rush, third son of John and Sarah Rush, married and had issue 1 Sarah, 2 Hannah, 3 James, 4 Benjamin, and 2 or 3 others. Thomas Rush, younger son of John Rush, married and had issue 1 John, who died single, 2 Thomas, who died in childhood, 3 Mary, who died in childhood, 4 Elizabeth, who died in childhood, 5 Esther, who died in childhood, 6 Rebecca, who married J. English and had issue several children. He lived to be 84 years of age and died about the year 1770. He passed the first 14 years of his life with his grandfather John Rush, and has often related anecdotes to Benjamin Rush and others of the battles, skirmishes, etc. of the old captain which he received from his own lips. He often mentioned his being well known to and esteemed by Oliver Cromwell, who one day, seeing his mare come into camp without him, supposed he had been killed, and lamented him by saying he had not left a better officer behind him. It was from Thomas Rush my brother received the old man's sword. Jane Rush. Jane Rush, youngest daughter of John and Susanna Rush, married John Dark, son of Thomas, and had issue 1 John, born A.D. 1698, 2 William, born A.D. 1700, 3 Joseph, born A.D. 1702, 4 Thomas, born A.D. 1704 and died at a few weeks old, 5 Samuel, born A.D. 1706, 6 Mary, born A.D. 1709. William Dark, second son of John and Jane Dark, had issue 1 John, 2 Anne, who married Captain Sage and had issue 1 Esther, who died single, 2 Rachel. Joseph Dark, third son of John and Jane Dark, had issue 1 Jane, born May 9th, A.D. 1734, 2 William, now General Dark, born May 6th, A.D. 1736, 3 John, born March 10th, A.D. 1741, 4 Joseph, born September 20th, 1744, 5 Martha, born September 17th, 1750. Samuel Dark, fifth son of Jonathan and Jane Dark, had issue 1 Sarah, 2 Jane, 3 Samuel, 4 Mary, 5 Lydia, 6 Thomas, 7 William. Mary Dark, sixth and youngest child of John and Jane Dark, married and had issue 1 Elizabeth, born A.D. 1734, who had 4 children, 2 John, born A.D. 1736, who died in infancy, 3 Edward, born A.D. 1738, who had 5 children, 4 Robert, born A.D. 1740, who was killed by the Indians and had 7 children, 5 William, born A.D. 1742, who had 11 children. The foregoing table of the genealogy, etc., was copied from entries, all in the handwriting of Dr. James Rush, made on the blank leaves of an old Bible, formerly in the possession of Dr. James Rush, who died May 26, A.D. 1869. A brief account of the ancestors and descendants of Benjamin Rush, M.D., of the city of Philadelphia, compiled from family records and his own personal knowledge by his son-in-law, Henry J. Williams, A.D. 1869. John Rush. John Rush, commander of a troop of horse in Oliver Cromwell's army, was married to Susanna Lucas at Horton in Oxfordshire, England. He came to Pennsylvania in A.D. 1683 and settled at Bibury, about 13 miles from Philadelphia, where he died A.D. 1699, aged about 80 years. Their eldest son and second child was William Rush, born on the 21st day of July, A.D. 1652, married Aurelia Blank, and died at Bibury, A.D. 1688. Their eldest son and third child was James Rush, born A.D. 1679, married Rachel Pert, and died at Bibury on the 16th of March, A.D. 1727, aged 48 years. Their eldest son and first child was John Rush, born A.D. 1712, married Susanna Harvey, a widow, daughter of Joseph Hall of Tacony on the Delaware River. Died July 26, A.D. 1751 in Philadelphia, and was buried in the ground of Christ Church, southeast corner of 5th and Arch Streets, where his headstone still stands. His widow afterwards married a man named Morris, by whom she had no children. She died on the 2nd of July, A.D. 1795, and was buried in Christ Church burying ground, corner of 5th and Arch Streets, where her tombstone is still in good preservation. The eldest son, who left issue, third child, of John and Susanna Rush was Benjamin Rush, M.D., born at Bibury, then in the county, now in the city of Philadelphia, on the 24th of December, A.D. 1745, and was married on the 11th of January, A.D. 1776, by the Reverend John Witherspoon at Morven, the seat of her father near Princeton, New Jersey, to Julia Stockton, eldest daughter of the Honorable Richard Stockton, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and of Mrs. Agnes Stockton, née Boudinot, his wife. Dr. Benjamin Rush died in Philadelphia on the 19th day of April, A.D. 1813, and was buried in the ground of Christ Church at the southeast corner of 5th and Arch Streets. He was a medical professor in the University of Pennsylvania, and greatly distinguished as a teacher and practitioner of medicine, and as an author on various subjects. He was an accomplished scholar, an eminent statesman, a warm advocate for universal freedom, Surgeon General in the American Army, a member of the Continental Congress, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, and above all a humble and devout Christian. Mrs. Julia Rush, wife of Dr. Benjamin Rush and eldest daughter of the Honorable Richard Stockton of Princeton, New Jersey, was born at Morven, the seat of her father, on the 2nd of March, A.D. 1759, and died at her little farm called Sydenham, now 15th Street and Columbia Avenue in the city of Philadelphia, on the 7th of July, A.D. 1848. She was buried in the grave of her husband in Christ Church burying ground, southeast corner of 5th and Arch Streets. Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush had issue, first, John Rush, born in Cecil County, Maryland, at the house of Elihu Hall, Esquire, on the 17th of July, A.D. 1777. Served as an officer in the Navy of the United States of America and died unmarried at Philadelphia on the 9th of August, A.D. 1837. He was buried near his father in Christ Church burying ground. Second, Anne Emily Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 1st of January, A.D. 1779. Married, had issue, and died at Montreal, Lower Canada, on the 27th day of April, A.D. 1850. Third, Richard Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 29th of August, A.D. 1780. Married, had issue, and died at Philadelphia on the 28th of July, A.D. 1859. Fourth, Susanna Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 7th of January, A.D. 1782, and died on the 27th of May, A.D. 1782. Fifth, Elizabeth Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 14th of February, A.D. 1783, and died on the 2nd of July, A.D. 1783. Sixth, Mary Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 16th of May, A.D. 1784. Married, had issue, and died in England on the 2nd of November, A.D. 1849. 7th, James Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 15th of March, A.D. 1786, married and died without issue on the 26th of May, A.D. 1869. 8th, William Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 8th of November, A.D. 1787, and died on the 15th of January, A.D. 1788. 9th, Benjamin Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 3rd of July, A.D. 1789, and died on the 21st of July, A.D. 1789. 10th, Benjamin Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 18th of February, A.D. 1791, died unmarried at New Orleans on the 17th of December, A.D. 1824, and was buried in the cemetery of the Protestant Church in that city. 11th, Julia Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 22nd of November, A.D. 1792, married and died without issue on the 19th of April, A.D. 1860. 12th, Samuel Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 1st of August, A.D. 1795, married, had issue, and died on the 24th of November, A.D. 1859. 13th, William Rush, born at Philadelphia on the 11th of May, A.D. 1801, married, had issue, and died on the 20th of November, A.D. 1864. 1. Anne Emily Rush. Anne Emily Rush, eldest daughter and second child of Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush, was born at Philadelphia on the 1st day of January, A.D. 1779, married on the 12th day of March, A.D. 1799, by the Reverend William White, to the Honorable Ross Cuthbert, of the Seigneury of Lanoraie on the river St. Lawrence, near Berthier, Lower Canada, and died on the 27th day of April, A.D. 1850, at Montreal, Lower Canada, where she had gone on a visit. She was buried in the vault of the family chapel at Berthier. The Honorable Ross Cuthbert survived his wife, and died at the manor house of Lanoraie on the 28th day of August, A.D. 1860. He was buried by his wife's side in the vault of the family chapel, but both he and his wife were subsequently removed to the cemetery of the Protestant Episcopal Church at Sorel. They had issue, first, James Cuthbert, born at Lanoraie, Lower Canada, on the 7th of January, A.D. 1800, and died there on the 30th of March, A.D. 1842. Second, Julia Cuthbert, born at Lanoraie, Lower Canada, on the 2nd of October, A.D. 1801, and died there on the 11th of February, A.D. 1802. Third, Georgina Cuthbert, born on the 7th of July, A.D. 1803. Fourth, Mary Cuthbert, born on the 25th day of February, A.D. 1810. 1. James Cuthbert, eldest child and only son of the Honorable Ross and Mrs. Emily Cuthbert, was born on the 7th day of January, A.D. 1800, at Philadelphia. Married Miss Jane Stevens, eldest daughter of Mr. Henry and Mrs. Stevens, of London, England, on the 7th day of June, A.D. 1821, and died at Lanoraie on the 30th day of March, A.D. 1842, leaving his widow and but one surviving son, Edmund Charles Cuthbert, who was born on the 10th day of March, A.D. 1836, served in the British Army in India, and died unmarried on the 13th day of November, A.D. 1864, at Pest in Hungary, which he had visited while on a tour through Europe. James Cuthbert had 5 children, all of whom, except Edmund Charles, died in infancy. 1. George Ross Cuthbert, born July 2, 1821, died April 10, 1824. 2. Henry S. Cuthbert, born January 27, 1824, died May 3, A.D. 1828. 3. Benjamin Rush Cuthbert, born January 13, 1825, died February 1, A.D. 1826. 4. James Rush Cuthbert, born January 11, 1834, died July 19, A.D. 1834. 5. Edmund Charles Cuthbert, born March 10, A.D. 1836, died November 12, A.D. 1864. 2. Julia Cuthbert, eldest daughter and second child of the Honorable Ross and Mrs. Emily Cuthbert, was born on the 2nd day of October, A.D. 1801, and died on the 11th day of February, A.D. 1802. 3rd, Georgina Cuthbert, born on the 7th of July, A.D. 1803. 4th, Mary Cuthbert, born on the 25th day of February, A.D. 1810. End of section 35. Section 36 of a memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Tom Shoesmith. A memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush, by Dr. Benjamin Rush. Section 36. Descendants, Section 3. 1. James Cuthbert, eldest child and only son of the Honorable Ross and Mrs. Emily Cuthbert, was born on the 7th day of January, A.D. 1800, at Philadelphia. Married Miss Jane Stevens, eldest daughter of Mr. Henry and Mrs. Stevens, of London, England, on the 7th day of June, A.D. 1821, and died at Lannerai on the 30th day of March, A.D. 1842, leaving his widow and but one surviving son, Edmund Charles Cuthbert, who was born on the 10th day of March, A.D. 1836, served in the British Army in India, and died unmarried on the 13th day of November, A.D. 1864, at Pest in Hungary, which he had visited while on a tour through Europe. James Cuthbert had 5 children, all of whom, except Edmund Charles, died in infancy. 1. George Ross Cuthbert, born July 2, 1821, died April 10, 1824. 2. Henry S. Cuthbert, born January 27, 1824, died May 3, A.D. 1828. 3. Benjamin Rush Cuthbert, born January 13, 1825, died February 1, A.D. 1826. 4. James Rush Cuthbert, born January 11, 1834, died July 19, A.D. 1834. 5. Edmund Charles Cuthbert, born March 10, A.D. 1836, died November 12, A.D. 1864. 2. Julia Cuthbert, eldest daughter and second child of the Honorable Ross and Mrs. Emily Cuthbert, was born on the 2nd day of October, A.D. 1801, and died on the 11th day of February, A.D. 1802. 3. Georgina Cuthbert, second daughter and third child of the Honorable Ross and Mrs. Emily Cuthbert, was born on the 7th day of July, A.D. 1803, and on the 17th day of June, A.D. 1829, married Mr. Augustus David Bostwick of Three Rivers, Lower Canada, who died on the 17th day of December, A.D. 1837. They had issue 1. Anne Emily Bostwick, born on the 5th of June, A.D. 1830, died on the 16th of August, A.D. 1831. 2. John Bostwick, born on the 23rd of July, A.D. 1831. 3. Mary Bostwick, born on the 3rd of March, A.D. 1833. 4. Georgina Bostwick, born on the 4th of October, A.D. 1834. 5. Charles Ogden Bostwick, who died quite young. 1. Anne Emily Bostwick, eldest daughter and child of Mr. Augustus David and Mrs. Georgina Bostwick, was born on the 5th day of June, A.D. 1830, and died on the 16th day of August, A.D. 1831. 2. John Bostwick, second child and eldest son of Mr. Augustus David and Mrs. Georgina Bostwick, was born on the 23rd day of July, A.D. 1831, and married on the 24th day of October, A.D. 1860, Miss Elizabeth Lloyd Merrick, youngest daughter of Mr. William and Mrs. Martha Merrick. They had 2 children. 1. Georgina Martha Bostwick, born the 24th day of October, A.D. 1861. 2. Mary Cuthbert Bostwick, born the 12th day of August, A.D. 1863. 3. Mary Bostwick, second daughter and third child of Mr. Augustus David and Mrs. Georgina Bostwick, was born on the 3rd day of March, A.D. 1833, and married on the 1st day of December, A.D. 1853, Mr. Edward Octavian Cuthbert. They have had issue 1. Emily Louisa Georgina Cuthbert, born on the 28th day of September, A.D. 1854, died on the 15th day of January, A.D. 1855. 2. James Augustus Alfred Octavian Cuthbert, born the 29th day of May, A.D. 1856. 3. Mary Frances Eliza Cuthbert, born on the 2nd of June, A.D. 1859, died on the 4th day of April, A.D. 1860. 4. Albert Edward Ross Cuthbert, born on the 31st day of July, A.D. 1860. 5. Jane Cuthbert, born on June the 10th, A.D. 1867. 6. Julia Rush Cuthbert, born on the 10th day of June, A.D. 1867. 4. Georgina Bostwick, third daughter and fourth child of Mr. Augustus David and Mrs. Georgina Bostwick, was born on the 4th day of October, A.D. 1834, and married on the 9th day of July, A.D. 1855, Mr. James William Hanson. They have no children. Mrs. Georgina Bostwick, widow of Mr. Augustus David Bostwick, married on the 10th day of June, A.D. 1851, Edward Adams Clark, Esquire. They have no children. 4. Mary Cuthbert, third daughter and fourth child of the Honorable Ross and Mrs. Emily Cuthbert, was born on the 25th day of February, A.D. 1810. 2. Richard Rush. Richard Rush, second son and third child of Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush, was born in Philadelphia on the 29th day of August, A.D. 1780, and was married on the 29th day of August, A.D. 1809, by the Reverend Dr. Judd to Catherine E. Murray, daughter of Dr. James and Mrs. Sarah E. Murray, then of Piney Grove, but formerly of Annapolis, Maryland. He died at his house in South 8th Street, below Locust Street, Philadelphia, on the 30th day of July, A.D. 1859, and was buried in his family vault in North Laurel Hill Cemetery in the city of Philadelphia. He had been made Attorney General of the United States by President James Madison, and afterward appointed acting Secretary of State. In A.D. 1817, he was sent as Minister Plenipotentiary to the Court of St. James, where he remained nearly 8 years, when he was recalled by President John Quincy Adams to fill the office of Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. Subsequently he went again to England to collect and receive the Smithsonian legacy, and after some interval was appointed Minister to France. After his return to this country he spent the latter years of his life either at Sydenham, his country seat, formerly in the county but now 15th Street and Columbia Avenue in the city of Philadelphia, or at his house in South 8th Street, below Locust Street. His wife, Mrs. Catherine E. Rush, died at Sydenham, her husband's country seat, on the 24th day of March, A.D. 1854, and was buried in his family vault in North Laurel Hill Cemetery. Richard and Catherine E. Rush had issue. A. First, Benjamin Rush, born in Philadelphia on the 23rd of January, A.D. 1811, married and had issue. Died June 30, 1877. B. Second, James Murray Rush, born in Washington, D.C. on the 10th of July, A.D. 1813, married, had issue, and died on the 7th of February, A.D. 1862. Third, Richard Rush, born in Washington, D.C. on the 11th day of March, A.D. 1815, died at Washington, D.C. on the 29th day of October, A.D. 1826, and was buried at Kalorama, the seat of Colonel Bomford, U.S. Army, near that city. Fourth, Sarah Maynadier Rush, born in Annapolis the 17th day of September, A.D. 1817, died in London on the 19th of April, A.D. 1819, and was buried in the vault of the Episcopal Church of Marylebone in London. Fifth, Julia Rush, born in London on the 11th of November, AD 1818, and died in London on the 30th of June, AD 1822. She was buried by the side of her little sister Sarah in the vault of the Episcopal Church at Marylebone, London. C. 6th. Anna Maria Rush, born in London on the 23rd of April, AD 1820, and died unmarried on the 25th of December, 1887. D. 7th. Madison Rush, born in London on the 28th of July, AD 1821, married and died without having had issue on the 20th day of July, AD 1856. E. 8th. Sarah Catherine Rush, born in London on the 29th day of June, AD 1823, and died July 17, 1905, unmarried. F. 9th. Richard Henry Rush, born in London on the 14th day of January, AD 1825, married, had issue, and died on the 17th of October, 1893. G. 10th. Julia Stockton Rush, born at Washington, D.C., on the 21st of July, A.D. 1826, married, had issue, and died at Washington, D.C., on the 20th of January, A.D. 1858. A. 1st. Benjamin Rush, eldest son and first child of Richard and Catherine E. Rush, was born in Philadelphia on the 23rd of January, A.D. 1811, and was married on the 24th of April, A.D. 1849, to Elizabeth M. Simpson, daughter of Dr. William Simpson of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Mary Teresa de Bellin, his wife. Died June 30, 1877, in London, England. They had issue: 1. William Simpson Rush, born in Philadelphia on the 28th of January, A.D. 1851, and died unmarried at Dresden, Germany, where his father and family had been spending some time, on the 2nd of June, A.D. 1869. His remains were sent home to be buried in the family vault of his father in North Laurel Hill Cemetery in the city of Philadelphia. 2. Catherine Eliza Murray Rush, born on the 21st of December, A.D. 1853, married William Masters Kamek, April 24, 1895. 3. Mary Teresa de Bellin Rush, born the 11th of February, A.D. 1855, married Reverend Richard Lewis Howell, April 30, 1889, and died May 24, 1903, and had issue: Richard Lewis Howell, Jr., born February 14, 1891, died May 2, 1891. B. 2nd. James Murray Rush, second son and second child of Richard and Catherine E. Rush, was born on the 10th of July, A.D. 1813, at Washington, D.C. He married Eugenia Frances Sheaf, the widow of William Sheaf, and daughter of John and Maria Heaster of Reading, Pennsylvania, on the 28th of January, A.D. 1847. His wife Eugenia, from her previous marriage, had 2 daughters, both of whom are married. She died at Sydenham, the residence of her husband's father, then in the county, now in the city, of Philadelphia, on the 3rd of December, A.D. 1849, and was buried with her father and mother at Reading, Pennsylvania. J. Murray and Eugenia Rush had issue: 1 son, Richard Rush, born on the 28th of February, A.D. 1848, and now, A.D. 1906, an officer in the Navy of the United States of America. Retired with the rank of captain. Married July 10, 1873, Ella Mary Day, second daughter of Edgar Burr Day of Catskill-on-Hudson and Sophia Augusta Camp of Sackett's Harbor, New York, and has had issue: Richard Rush, Jr., born September 28, 1875, at Philadelphia, and died November 21, 1875, at Catskill-on-Hudson, New York, of pneumonia. Ella Day Rush, Jr., born November 1, 1876, at Philadelphia, married September 23, 1905, at Catskill-on-Hudson, New York, William Spencer Murray, of Annapolis, Maryland. James Murray Rush, afterwards, on the 29th of November, A.D. 1853, married Elizabeth Upshur Dennis, widow of Littleton Dennis, by whom she had no children, and daughter of Littleton Upshur Dennis and Sarah Robertson, his wife, of Essex, Somerset County, on the eastern shore of Maryland. She died at the house of her husband on Washington Square, Philadelphia, on the 16th of May, A.D. 1856, and was buried on her family estate in Somerset County, Maryland. She left one only daughter, Elizabeth Murray Rush, who was born on the 26th of January, A.D. 1856. James Murray Rush died at his house in South 8th Street, below Locust Street, in the city of Philadelphia, on the afternoon of Friday, the 7th of January, A.D. 1862, and was buried in his brother's family vault in North Laurel Hill Cemetery. Elizabeth Murray Rush married, April 20, 1882, John Biddle Porter, son of Andrew Porter and Margaretta Biddle, and had issue 1. Margaretta Biddle Porter, born June 13, 1883, 2. Catherine Rush Porter, born January 27, 1885, 3. Elizabeth Murray Rush Porter, born September 3, 1893. C. 3rd. Anna Maria Rush, third daughter and sixth child of Richard and Catherine E. Rush, was born in London at the house of her father, then minister plenipotentiary at the court of London, on the 23rd of April, A.D. 1820, died at Philadelphia on the 25th of December, 1887. D. 4th. Madison Rush, fourth son and seventh child of Richard and Catherine E. Rush, was born in London at the house of his father, then minister plenipotentiary at the court of London, on the 28th of July, A.D. 1821, and served for many years as an officer in the Navy of the United States of America, but resigned his commission upon his marriage. He married on the 20th of February, A.D. 1855, Maria Blight, daughter of George and Maria Blight of the city of Philadelphia. His wife died in Philadelphia without issue on the 3rd of November, A.D. 1855, and was buried in the ground of the Episcopal Church of St. James the Less, near the Falls of Schuylkill, in the city of Philadelphia. Her husband, Madison Rush, was drowned while bathing in the Red Lake River in Minnesota, and was buried by the side of his wife in the ground of St. James the Less on the 21st of November, A.D. 1855, the same year, his body having been recovered and brought home. E. 5th. Sarah Catherine Rush, fourth daughter and eighth child of Richard and Catherine E. Rush, was born in London at the house of her father, then minister plenipotentiary at the court of St. James, on the 29th of June, A.D. 1823, and died July 17, 1905. F. 6th. Richard Henry Rush, fifth son and ninth child of Richard and Catherine E. Rush, was born in London at the house of his father, then minister plenipotentiary at the court of St. James, on the 14th day of January, A.D. 1825, and was married on the 4th day of February, A.D. 1851, to Sarah Ann Blight, daughter of George and Maria Blight of the city of Philadelphia. His wife died at Newport, Rhode Island, on the 8th of August, A.D. 1852, and was buried in the vault of her father in St. Stephen's Church Yard, South 10th Street, above Chestnut Street, in the city of Philadelphia. She left one only son, Murray Rush, who was born on the 20th day of October, A.D. 1851. Murray Rush, son of Richard Henry Rush and Sarah Ann Blight, married January 14, 1876, at Christ Church, Baltimore, Louisa Bowden, and has issue 1. Murray Blight Rush, born in Baltimore, February 9, 1877. 2. Arthur Temple Rush, born in Philadelphia, January 11, 1879, married May 17, 1904, Aleph M. Borey. 3. Lewis Harold Rush, born at Rye Beach, New Hampshire, August 23, 1880. 4. Alice Bowden Rush, born at Radnor, Pennsylvania, March 30, 1884. The end of section 36.
Section 37 of A Memorial Containing Travels Through Life, or Sundry Incidents in the Life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Dave Noel. A memorial containing travels through life or sundry incidents in the life of Dr. Benjamin Rush. By Dr. Benjamin Rush. Section 37. Murray Rush, son of Richard Henry Rush and Sarah Ann Blight, married January 14, 1876 at Christ Church, Baltimore. Louisa Bowdoin and has issue. 1. Murray Blight Rush, born in Baltimore, February 9, 1877. 2. Arthur Temple Rush, born in Philadelphia, January 11, 1879. Married May 17, 1904. Alif M. Bory. 3. Louis Harold Rush, born Rye Beach, New Hampshire, August 23, 1880. 4. Alice Bowdoin Rush, born at Radnor, Pennsylvania, March 30, 1884. Arthur Temple Rush, second son of Murray Rush, married Alif M. Bory, daughter of John Bory and Susan Halsey, and has issue. Richard Rush II, born February 25, 1905. Richard Henry Rush, afterwards, on the 11th of December, AD 1856, married Susan Bowdoin Yerby, daughter of Dr. George Y. and Charlotte H. Yerby, of Selma, Northampton County, Virginia, and died October 17, 1893. Richard H. and Susan B. Rush have had issue. 1. Richard Henry Rush, born on the 15th of September, AD 1857, and died on the 3rd day of July, AD 1858. 2. Madison Rush, born on the 3rd of November, AD 1858, married and has issue. 3. Charlotte Graham Rush, born on the 12th of February, AD 1860, married and has issue. 4. Susan Rush, born on the 12th of July, AD 1861, married and has issue. 5. Julia Rush, born on the 15th day of December, AD 1863. 6. Benjamin Rush, born November 28, 1869, married and has issue. Richard H. Rush was educated at West Point and served a number of years as an officer in the Army of the United States of America. He resigned his commission soon after the death of his first wife, but upon the breaking out of the Great Southern Rebellion was appointed colonel of a regiment of Lancers and served during that war in the Union Army. After the overthrow of the Confederacy, he again resigned his commission and retired to private life. Madison Rush, second son of Richard Henry Rush and Susan Bowdoin Yerby, married October 2, 1884. Catherine Parker Costin, born July 12, 1859, died December 13, 1902. He married a second time, July 6, 1904. Carolyn Noves, born November 11, 1880. Madison Rush and Catherine Parker Costin had issue. Catherine Elizabeth Rush, born October 7, 1885. Susan Rush, born August 16, 1890. Julia Stockton Rush, born March 3, 1897. Charlotte Graham Rush, third child and eldest daughter of Richard Henry Rush and Susan Bowdoin Yerby, married January 27, 1886. Edward Dale Toland, son of Robert Toland, of Philadelphia, has issue. Edward Dale Toland, born December 11, 1886. Priscilla Toland, born December 19, 1888. Richard Henry Rush Toland, born September 3, 1891. Robert Toland, born April 2, 1895. Owen Jones Toland, born January 19, 1897. Susan Rush, fourth child and second daughter of Richard Henry Rush and Susan Bowdoin Yerby, married September 17, 1887. Cecil Campbell Higgins. They have issue. Campbell Higgins, born July 23, 1888. Celia Campbell Higgins, born April 16, 1890. Benjamin Rush, sixth child and third son of Richard Henry Rush and Susan Boydoin Yerby, married June 5, 1895. Mary Wheeler Lockwood and has issue. Charlotte Rush, born March 26, 1896. Benjamin Rush, born October 28, 1898. Mary Rush, born January 10, 1900. Richard Stockton Rush, born July 14, 1905. Section G, 7th. Julia Stockton Rush, fifth daughter and 10th and youngest child of Richard and Catherine E. Rush, was born in Washington, D.C. on the 21st of July, AD 1826, and was married on the 1st of June, AD 1854, to John Calvert of Washington, D.C., son of Edward Calvert, Esquire, of Mount Airy, Prince George's County, Maryland. She died in Washington, D.C., January 20th, 1858, and was buried in the family vault of her father in North Laurel Hill Cemetery in the city of Philadelphia. Her husband, John Calvert, died at his farm in Prince George's County, Maryland, on the 9th of March, AD 1869, and was buried by the side of his wife in a part of the family vault of his father-in-law, which had been allotted to him. John and Julia S. Calvert left issue 2 sons. 1. John Calvert, born on the 9th of March, AD 1855, married October 26, 1881, Victoria Baltzell Elliott, second daughter of T. Thomas Elliott and Victoria R. Baltzell. They have had issue. Cecilius Baltimore Calvert, born September 11, 1882. 2. Madison Rush Calvert, born on the 12th of January, AD 1858, married August 4, 1881, Josephine R. Wheeler of New York, married a second time, Margaret Agnes Mahoney of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They have had issue. Catherine Rush Calvert, born December 25, 1892, died February 14, 1895. 3. Mary Rush. Mary Rush, fourth daughter and sixth child of Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush, was born in Philadelphia on the 16th of May, 1884, and was married at Philadelphia on the 29th of December, AD 1809, to Captain Thomas Manners of the 49th British Regiment, by the Right Reverend Bishop William White. She followed her husband to Canada and England, where she resided the rest of her life and died at Fort Clarence, near Rochester, Kent, England, on the 2nd of November, AD 1849. She was buried at Gillingham Church, about 5 miles from Rochester. Captain Thomas Manners died at Cheltenham about the 6th day of March, AD 1834, and was buried there. Captain and Mrs. Manners left issue. Julia Manners, born at Malden, Upper Canada, on the day of April, AD 1805, died November 26, 1874, in London, England. 2. Robert Manners, born at Quebec, Upper Canada, on the day of June AD 1806. He entered the British Army, served for many years, and rose to the rank of captain. He was then appointed governor of the military prison at Fort Clarence, near to Rochester, Kent, England, where he continued to reside when he retired on a pension. 4. James Rush, M.D. James Rush, M.D., third son and seventh child of Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush, was born in Philadelphia on the 16th day of March, AD 1786. He was married on the 19th day of October, AD 1819, by the Right Reverend Bishop William White, to Phoebe Ann Ridgway, daughter of Jacob and Rebecca Ridgway, of the city of Philadelphia. His wife Anne was born on the 3rd of December, AD 1799, and died at Saratoga, New York, on the 23rd day of October, AD 1857. She was buried in her father's ground in North Laurel Hill Cemetery. Dr. James Rush died without having had issue at his house, number 1914 Chestnut Street, Philadelphia, on the 26th day of May, 1869, and was buried in the grave of his wife, on the ground of his father-in-law, Jacob Ridgway, in North Laurel County Cemetery. Dr. Rush was a very successful practitioner of medicine and an author of several works. The Philosophy of the Human Voice, one of his productions, has become a standard work and a textbook with all teachers and students of elocution. He left by his will almost the whole of his immense fortune, derived in a great measure from his father-in-law and his wife, to found and endow the Ridgway branch of the Philadelphia Library. 5. Julia Rush. Julia Rush, fifth daughter and 11th child of Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush, was born in Philadelphia on the 22nd day of November, AD 1792, and was married by the Right Reverend William White, Bishop of Pennsylvania, on the 17th day of June, AD 1820, to Henry J. Williams, son of General Jonathan and Mrs. MaryAnn Williams, née Alexander. She died without issue in the house of her husband, number 712 Walnut Street, in the city of Philadelphia, on the 19th of April, AD 1860, and was buried in his family vault in North Laurel Hill Cemetery. She was a woman of very remarkable personal attractions, and her wit and accomplishments were equal to her beauty. She united to unusual intelligence and information the sweetest and kindliest disposition, and the gentlest and most polished manners. She diffused comfort and happiness through her whole household, and when she died left it in loneliness and sorrow. During her whole life she was an earnest, active, and devoted member of the Episcopal Church, and with all the graces of a thorough cultivation and the attractions of unusual social powers, she combined a clear view of the way of mercy through the Savior and a firm grasp of the promises of God in Him, and happy in the love of Him in whom she trusted, happy in the hope of eternal blessedness through her Lord Jesus Christ. There was in her experience almost no shadow of the doubts with which they many are disturbed. She was consequently free to enjoy the bounties of God's providence, the beauties of His works, and the rich comforts of His word and spirit, with humble, innocent, and hearty cheerfulness. She did so, and with smiles ever on her lips, with love and joy ever in her heart, was the charm of the Christian society in which she moved and of the happy domestic circle she adorned. Her life was truly hid in Christ with God, and when its termination came, it found her calmly and confidently, reposing, where she had reposed for years, on the undoubted love of her Redeemer. She passed in the valley of the shadow of death, feeling and saying that it was but a shadow, and rests now in the full brightness of the other side. It is but a shadow were her only words one day before her death, with a perfect knowledge of its near approach. 6. Samuel Rush. Samuel Rush, seventh son and 12th child of Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush, was born in Philadelphia on the 1st of August, AD 1795, and died at the house of his son-in-law, Colonel Alexander Biddle, number 1626 Walnut Street, in the city of Philadelphia, November 24, 1859. He was buried in the ground of Christ Church, at the corner of 5th and Arch Streets, but was afterwards removed to the vault of his brother-in-law, Henry J. Williams, in North Laurel Hill Cemetery. He was married at Philadelphia by the Reverend Simon Wilmer to Ann Wilmer, daughter of James and Ann Wilmer, née Emerson, on the 12th of August, AD 1828. They had issue 1. James Rush, born on the 8th of May, AD 1829, and died on the 30th of November, AD 1831. 2. Julia Williams Rush, born on the 28th of November, AD 1832, died August 8th, 1898, at Lanarai, Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia. 3. William Rush, born on the 7th of February, A.D. 1837, and died on the 20th of April, A.D. 1860. 1. James Rush, son of Samuel and Anne Rush, was born on the 8th of May, A.D. 1829, and died on the 30th of December, A.D. 1831. He was buried in the ground of Christ Church at the southeast corner of 5th and Arch Streets, but afterwards removed with his father's remains to the vault of Henry J. Williams in the North Laurel Hill Cemetery. 2. Julia Williams Rush, eldest daughter and second child of Samuel and Anne Rush, was born at Philadelphia on the 28th day of November, A.D. 1832, and married on the 11th of October, A.D. 1855, to Alexander Biddle, son of Thomas and Christine Biddle, née William. They had issue. 1. Alexander Williams Biddle, on the 4th of July, A.D. 1856, married Anne McKinnon, July 19, 1879, has issue. 2. Henry Rush Biddle, born on the 15th of March, A.D. 1858, died January 2, 1877, at Lanneray, Chestnut Hill. 3. Julia Rush Biddle, born on the 25th of July, A.D. 1859, died February 24, 1885. 4. James Wilmer Biddle, born on the 22nd of November, A.D. 1861, married Cora Rowland, has issue. 5. Louis Alexander Biddle, born on the 12th of March, A.D. 1863. 6. MaryAnn Biddle, born on the 8th of November, A.D. 1865. 7. Linford Biddle, born August 26, 1871. Alexander Williams Biddle, eldest son of Alexander Biddle and Julia Williams Rush, married Anne McKinnon, daughter of Judge William McKinnon of Washington, Penn, and has issue. Pauline Biddle, born August 7, 1880, married John Penn Brock, son of Horace Brock of Philadelphia, April 24, 1905. Christine Alexander Biddle, born October 20, 1882. Julia Rush Biddle, born August 16, 1886. Isabel Biddle, born January 16, 1888. Alexander Biddle, born April 4, 1893. James Wilmer Biddle, fourth child and third son of Alexander Biddle and Julia Williams Rush, married February 4, 1891. Cora Rowland, daughter of Howard Rowland of Philadelphia, has issue. MaryAnn Wilmer Biddle, born June 15, 1893. Harriet Biddle, born February 4, 1896. The third William Rush, second son and third child of Samuel and Anne Rush, was born at Philadelphia on the 7th of February, A.D. 1837, and died unmarried on the 20th of April, A.D. 1860. He was buried in the vault of his uncle, Henry J. Williams, in North Laurel Cemetery. 7. William Rush, M.D. William Rush, M.D., eighth son, 13th and youngest child of Dr. Benjamin and Mrs. Julia Rush, was born at Philadelphia on the 11th of May, A.D. 1801, and was married by the Reverend Dr. Delancey on the 18th day of July, A.D. 1827. To Elizabeth Fox Roberts, daughter of Hugh and Sarah Roberts, née Smith, of Piney Grove, in the city and county of Philadelphia. He died in Philadelphia on the 20th of November, A.D. 1864, and was buried in the ground of Christ Church at the corner of 5th and Arch Streets in the city of Philadelphia. They had issue only one daughter, Julia Roberts Rush, who was born in Philadelphia on the 7th of May, A.D. 1828, died on the 6th of July, A.D. 1834, and was buried in the ground of Christ Church, near her grandfather, Dr. Benjamin Rush. Her widowed mother died at 1630 Walnut Street on the 27th day of June, 1877, and was buried Saturday, June 30th, in the lot of George Robert Smith in North Laurel Hill Cemetery. Quote, died on Sunday the 6th inst. Julia, only daughter of Dr. William Rush, aged about 7 years. She was a child of uncommon promise, and the sorrow and sympathy for her loss testify the worth of the young departed, and the depth of the bereavement sustained by the parents and surviving friends. No bitter tears for thee be shed, blossom of being, seen and gone, with flowers alone we strew thy bed. O blessed departeth one, whose all of life a rosy ray blushed into dawn and passed away. Thou wert so like a child of light, that heavenly benign called thee hence, ere the cold world could shed a light o'er thy sweet innocence. And thou, that brighter land to bless, hast gone in all thy loveliness. 1834. End of section 37. Read by Dave Noel. davenoel.bandcamp.com. Alberta, Canada, April 22nd, 2025. End of A Memorial Containing Travels Through Life, or Sundry Incidents in the Life of Dr. Benjamin Rush, by Dr. Benjamin Rush.